What's up, everybody? Chris here, Power Company Climbing. I've gotten a lot of requests from you to talk about the process of working on and ultimately sending a hard boulder. This one in particular, we're going to deal with fear, we're going to deal with a technique that I'm just not good at, and we're also going to deal with a type of effort that I've been working on for a long time. So this isn't going to be climbing porn. This is really digging into the details of the process and getting into the weeds a little bit. So I hope you enjoy. Let me know what you think about this type of format in the comments below. And please like, subscribe, share it with your friends on your social media. Let's get into it. That's not me.
Just get in there.
I mean, that's me, but
Fuck.
that's not me.
What the fuck?
I don't get frustrated. I joyfully embrace challenge, but
Why? Why?
there I was, 5 sessions deep,
This is absurd.
mired in challenges and frustrated. After miles of creek crossings, rough 2-tracks, increasing heat, wild horses, well, that was one of the good parts. The horses are just so fucking majestic. Relentless wind and running out of time. I was right smack dab in the middle of where I didn't want to end up, but also right where I wanted to be. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's rewind. Session 1 was that type of nondescript, mid-level session that leaves you completely unsure. I went out with a few friends, dropped a rope down, brushed, chalked, identified the holds, learned some of the moves, but didn't really make many links. The middle section, we could all do, but none of us had done the sit moves. Frankly, we weren't even sure how to do those moves. I had sort of worked out a method for the high crux that revolved around this insecure, hard-to-get finger lock that felt like it could pop out at any moment. And I wasn't sure of it. What we were sure of is that the boulder was worthy, and we'd be back. And that it would soon be too hot. In retrospect, I realized that day 1 pointed out 3 distinct dull blades that I had been working to sharpen. Number 1, trying hard right off the ground. This is something I've spent years learning to be better at. Flight of the Antelope was really going to test my progress. Number 2, closed crimps. I discovered that I was going to have to use my weakest and least favorite grip several times. If you're a podcast listener, you know that I've been getting more comfortable closing my hands over the past 2 years, but only recently have I been forced into doing it on something that's really hard for me. Number 3, as I get older, I'm 47 this year, taller boulders get scarier, particularly when I can't just lock the moves down up high. An injury could be devastating, and my risk-reward ratios have completely shifted. The only way I found to make the top work felt very insecure. I couldn't shake the fact that I hadn't done the bottom moves, so with a very short window, I drove the 90 minutes out to see if I could learn anything new. With only about an hour to climb, I focused all of my efforts on those first 3 moves. And after exploring several options, I was able to link the moves together, but just barely.
Come on, Chris.
Oh, fell out of the heel.
That's so many moves.
Oh, that's the closest I've been, though. As a coach, this is the spot where I often see people get stuck. Yes, those moves felt like they were at my limit, and there was a daunting amount of work ahead of me, but I had done the moves, and they'd get easier with repetition. I also left suspecting that if I used a different right shoe, flatter with less of a toe bump, I might be able to get more of the weight onto my feet for those moves. Session 3 was a roller coaster. I went out with a few friends, lots of pads and spotters, and pretty much the ideal time to do this thing. The new flatter shoe worked perfectly. The conditions were better. Still crazy windy. But I was getting consistently through those first few moves. Two of my friends, using my method for the low crux as well as most of my top out beta, quickly sent back to back, building that momentum. And then it was my turn. I sat down beneath the boulder, deep belly breath, that's my cue to try hard, right off the ground. And with the wind picking up, executed the crux exactly how I'd practiced. Exiting the crux, a foot slip surprised me. I pulled it right back together. This is what I do. I execute. Now's the time. Perfect day, spotters, lots of pads. Slow your heart rate down and focus. And then I was facing that finger lock that I had worked out for the top. And I couldn't find it. Was I really not finding it, or was I just scared? Should I try another method or keep banging my head against this one? The heat rolled in and pushed my resolve out, and I walked away empty-handed. I'd high-pointed, but somehow it didn't really feel like progress. Then the coach in me again looks at it objectively. I had made progress. I learned the effort needed for the bottom. I learned the timing and position of when to switch from half crimp to full crimp in that crux move. The different shoe worked, and I had linked the bulk of the boulder. That's progress. Big progress, actually. Dropping off from that finger lock ate away at me. The insecure top still felt a little like an unknown, like I'd have to get lucky to make it happen. And to deal with that insecurity at that height, luck just wasn't going to cut it for me. So I drove out solo, threw a rope down, and spent a few hours trying new beta, deciding it wouldn't work for me, going back to my old beta, trying tape for the finger lock, realizing that too much tape would get stuck really easily, and most important, I armed myself with enough information that I could take luck entirely out of the equation. Somehow, the fear I had started experiencing on this boulder made it feel really important for me to go out and explore these challenges by myself. And so I drove out again, made several trips hauling pads up the hill, and warmed up the same way I do for a gym session, just to get my mind right. I knew that doing the stand start would be the key to doing the boulder. It was the next logical progression. And so in the cool morning hours, I pulled on with confidence, knowing exactly what I had to do. And then I was through the finger lock, facing the not quite as secure as I want it to be top out with no spotters. But I executed perfectly. And I was still terrified. I had to calm myself down. I had to remind myself that this is exactly the challenge that I was looking for. No more luck. Today would be the day. A little more getting my fingers warmed up for the low crux, and I was again through it. This is my process. I don't drop moves after I've learned them. I just don't. But the extra fatigue was just enough to pull the insecurity back into focus. I remember thinking while feeling for the finger lock, what if your body gives out as you find it and you get stuck in it? How ironic would it be at the rare spot in the Wyoming backcountry where you have perfect cell service, you can't get to your phone because you're dangling from a finger lock. How irresponsible.
Oh no.
And fucking irrational.
Oh, so scary.
But fear and insecurity are emotional. They aren't always rational. To expect that of them is futile. But that day, it's exactly what I expected. So 3 more times, I climbed to my high point and dropped off. Got scared, got frustrated. Frustrated at the rock climb, frustrated at the heat, frustrated at myself. And then, rain. Driving home was kind of a mindfuck. I knew I could do it. I was getting through the crux consistently, and then I was just dropping off. That's not me. I knew I only had a couple of days before I had to go out of town, and then the heat would inevitably take over. I knew what I had to do. Yes, the image I'd conjured up of dying, stuck dangling from a finger lock was utterly ridiculous. But it felt real, and it sparked real fear. That I can work with. And so I recruited my friend Lana to go up with me early one morning. A few of the footholds were damp from the rain, so while I set up a rappel, Lana fanned them off, taking away any excuses that I could give myself. I wrapped down, chalked up the holds again, brushed everything, got myself warmed up, and I tested my tape job. And, well, it got stuck. But I could hold on long enough to get it wiggled out. I could do this. I finished my warm-up doing individual moves and pieces of the boulder, and before I knew it, I was again through the low crux, on point, not really feeling entirely warmed up. One of the things I've learned about fear is that whenever a new twist arises in a situation, it's like opening the door wide up for that irrational fear to rush back in. And that's exactly what happened.
God, I'm fucking scared. God, not warm. Sun was right in my face as soon as I looked up.
It felt like a reason, but it was an excuse. I wasn't warmed up enough. My foot slipped and I wasted energy. I made a dumb mistake. It's already too hot. The excuses are endless. Luckily, I had Lana there to dole out the hard truth I needed to hear, and that I literally wrote the book on.
Oh, I'm just blowing it.
Okay, but what's more energy? That whole try, or using the extra energy you would have needed to do that move without the heel? Should you have kept going?
Probably, but even when I do the bottom well and I'm fatigued at the top, I get scared.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I know.
So my brain wants to go up there
Perfect.
not scared. Especially, everything feels a little slippery
But
today.
is that going to happen? Realistically, even if you felt like you did all the moves the best you could up until that point, do you
I'm
really
still
think?
gonna be scared.
So that's what I'm saying. Listen, I'm telling you all the things you'd be telling me.
You're not wrong. I'm just telling you how
You're not gonna get there.
I'm
scared.
rationalizing it out of fear.
You're playing me.
Yeah.
And what you would say to me is, that's just too bad.
That's just
Too bad because that's not gonna happen. That's just not real life.
No, you're right.
That's not reality. You're not going to get there not scared.
I should have kept going. You're right.
With a knotted rope pulled to the side, just in case the worst irrational fears materialized, I set off again. I breathed. I didn't hesitate. This time I left no room for the negative, irrational thoughts. I just executed. At V10-ish, this isn't the hardest grade I've climbed, and at 6 sessions, it's not even close to my longest project. But I'm damn proud of it. Flight of the Antelope tested me in more ways at one time than maybe any boulder ever has. Physically, mentally, emotionally, which ultimately is exactly why I had to keep trying.
Got it.
Oh, fuck.
Nice work.
And that is me.
Holy hell.
Were you so scared?
So scared.
Good job.
Thanks, Lon.
Nice job.
I just kept telling myself when I was wiggling in, now's the time.
Thanks so much for following along on this journey with me. If you like this format, or if you think there's something we could be doing better to show you the process, please let me know in the comments. If there's something you're struggling with in your own climbing and figuring out how to deal with it, let me know that as well. I might just have a video in the works coming for you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share it with your friends, share it on your social medias. You can find us and our coaching services, our training plans, and all of our products at powercompanyclimbing.com. You can also find us on the Instagrams at Power Company Climbing, Facebooks at Power Company Climbing, and don't forget to check out the Power Company podcast everywhere you get your pods. Thanks.